I am learning to hold myself the way I once begged others to, softly, gently, without conditions, without keeping score. I am learning that my reflection is not an enemy. It is a survivor, a becoming, a body that has carried me through every storm. Some days self-love is loud, music in the kitchen, hips swaying, laughing at nothing. Other days it is quiet, getting out of bed anyway, drinking water, forgiving myself for not being infinite. I am no longer shrinking to fit inside someone else's comfort. I am stretching into my fullness, into my voice, into the space I deserve to take. My heart is not too much. My softness is not weakness. My boundaries are not cruelty. I am allowed to choose me. And every time I do, even in the smallest way, I bloom a little more. Rooted, radiant, finally my own. There was a time I avoided mirrors. Not because I didn't see beauty, but because I had been taught not to recognize it when it looked like me. I heard the whispers early. Too dark, too much, too bold. As if my skin was something to apologize for. As if melanin were a mistake. I watched lighter faces being called soft, delicate, desirable, while I was told I was strong before I was ever allowed to just be gentle. So I tried shrinking, tried hiding in long sleeves, in silence, in comparisons that bruised. But something inside me refused to disappear. It began in small moments. Sunlight resting on my arms like it had been waiting for me. Gold against brown, warmth against warmth. I started noticing how my skin glows in evening light, how it carries history, oceans crossed, kingdoms built, songs survived. My blackness is not heavy, it is holy. It is the shade of rich earth where life begins. It is midnight skies stitched with stars. It is resilience wrapped in radiance. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see more than color. I see inheritance. I see strength softened by grace. I see a woman who no longer asks permission to shine. Loving my black skin was not instant. It was a journey through unlearning, relearning, and reclaiming. But today I run my hands over my arms and feel pride. I step into sunlight and feel chosen. And in the quiet of my heart, I whisper, "You are beautiful. You always were." I did not wake up loving myself. It was not sudden. Not a sunrise spilling gold across my chest. It was more like learning to breathe underwater after years of drowning in doubt. Slow, steady, intentional. I have been my own harshest voice, echoing old wounds, repeating stories that were never mine to carry. I wore insecurity like a second skin, tight, suffocating, mistaking survival for worth. But somewhere in the quiet, between breaking and becoming, I heard a whisper. You deserve gentleness too. So I began small. I forgave the girl who didn't know better. I held her trembling hands inside my grown ones. I told her she was never too much, only too powerful for small rooms. There were days I slipped backward, days the mirror felt like an enemy, days loving myself felt arrogant, impossible. But healing is not a straight road. It curves, it stumbles, it teaches. So I started choosing myself in little ways. Rest instead of guilt, truth instead of silence, boundaries instead of apology. And slowly, the cracks inside me began to glow. I am learning that self-love is not loud. It is steady. It is choosing to stay when running feels easier. It is speaking kindly to the heart that has carried me this far. So I am not finished. I am becoming. And for the first time, the journey back to me feels like home. The journey back to myself. The journey back to me. I used to mistake intensity for comfort. If it felt familiar, I called it home, even when it burned. I mastered the art of leaving before I could be left, of dimming my light before someone else could decide if it was too bright. I told myself I was protecting my heart, but I was building walls so high even love could not climb them. Self-sabotage doesn't shout, it whispers. They'll hurt you. You're not ready. Don't trust this. And I listened, again and again, confusing fear with intuition. Healing began the day I stopped blaming the world for patterns I refused to see. The day I admitted I was afraid of being chosen because I had not fully chosen myself. It was not pretty. It was an uncomfortable honesty, a learning to sit still when my instincts screamed, run. I began catching myself in the act of retreat, asking, is this protection or is this fear? Slowly, I started staying in conversations, in vulnerability, in moments that felt too soft to trust. Healing is not the absence of fear. It is walking forward while your hands still tremble. I'm unlearning the urge to ruin good things before they can even leave. I am teaching my heart that safety does not mean silence, and love does not mean danger. I am no longer at war with myself. And every time I choose growth over destruction, I rewrite the story I once thought was permanent. Before I find love in someone else, I am learning to find it in me. I am tracing my own edges, learning the language of my body, the quiet rhythm of my needs. I am no longer waiting for someone to tell me I am ready. I am speaking it to myself until my bones believe it. I have mistaken loneliness for lack before, confused silence with emptiness. But solitude had taught me how to sit with my own heart without trying to escape it. I light my own candles now. I buy my own flowers. I hold myself on nights when the world feels heavy. Because love should not arrive as rescue. It should arrive as recognition. Before I meet someone who sees my glow, I am tending to the flame. Before someone chooses me, I am choosing myself, fully, fiercely, without apology. So when love does come, it will not complete me. It will find me whole.